to holding the harmonica. The most important thing is that we don't have our hands, our fingers, get in the way of us playing the harmonica, our mouth, right? So if I open my mouth, play holes 1, 2, and 3 with the tongue off the harmonica, I have my slight tilt. There's actually not much room for my hand. There's my hold. So my thumb goes right underneath the harmonica. The forefinger sits on top, not in the groove of the harmonica, but right there on the actual crest. The middle finger then goes behind the harmonica. Let me reset. And you can see the other fingers just flow behind. You don't have to worry about this finger covering up sound because sound goes out of the harmonica everywhere. And actually part of our technique of cupping and wah-wah is actually how to gather all that sound together. So this finger goes behind the harmonica and it stops the harmonica from moving back in your hand. So far we have 3 points: the thumb, the finger, this finger behind the harmonica. And our last point, a little hard to see at this angle here, is I have this part of the corner of the harmonica right there in the webbing. So that will also not go into the hand. That stops. So I have this finger and this webbing of the hand that stops the harmonica from moving backwards. So it's not in here, but it sits in front right there. So that's our 4-point hold on the harmonica. Now you should be able to hold the harmonica just with your left hand and play. And we do. We play like that all the time. The right hand adds stability and also the ability to play techniques like the wah-wah, or when you're holding a bullet microphone, if you like the sound of amplified blues harmonica, we're gathering all of the sound and putting it through the cartridge inside the grill of the microphone. So, the right hand, there are commonly 3 ways to hold. The most common is what we'll call the pinch. So let's go up to our close-up camera. The finger goes behind the harmonica. The back of the hand has this nice complementary shape. Now how much fingers overlap just depends on the size of your hands. My hands are fairly large. And the thumb goes in the front to block off, commonly the 8, 9, 10 range using the pad of the thumb. The thumb's important because you're actually creating a megaphone type of effect when you're doing your technique such as the wah-wah. So having that thumb actually there against your face, also covering the upper holes in the harmonica because those are leakage points as well when we try to create that smothered close sound of the harmonica, open up and bright for our techniques such as the wah-wah. So we're trying to cover all the holes as much as possible. But even more important than covering the holes is having that thumb near your face so you create this double megaphone type of effect. You can have the harmonica completely sticking out the other side and create good wah-wah techniques. So we call this the pinch. The way that I hold it commonly, when I want a darker sound, is I'll use the same hold, but I'll bring my hand all the way to the side. I call that the end cap. It's basically the same hold, but I'm allowing more hand to go on the right-hand side. You have to have bigger hands to do this. This may not work for you. It's worth experimenting with, though. The advantage of this one is that I can close off the entire end of the harmonica and create a very tight cup. So much so that I can use my thumb as a wah-wah. The sound of the cup closed and open. So that's the end cap. I personally use this, and to be honest, it's too dark most of the time. It's too muted. So what I usually do is I just relax my fingers a little bit. Instead of being tight, I relax my fingers a little bit, and it gives me a little bit of a brighter sound. The pinch is generally considered the best one. If you want to get dark, you can bring that hand over and get a more muted, darker sound, but you probably don't want to live there. Our third hold is the 2 thumbs up. So instead of having this, you take your left hand and your thumb goes up. and you stick your face right in there. So as I play, I've got both my thumbs are up. This will touch my face. This will touch my face. So as I play, we get all the angles here. And this is an extremely tight cup. So that's another thing to experiment with. Definitely not as common, but for some people, this is what they prefer. Some things to keep in mind when doing this is you don't want to have a death grip. If you find the back of your harmonica starting to squeeze in, you're holding too tight. It's more about finding the angle of your palms, your hands, your fingers, until you find the right angle and shape of the hands so that you're able to gather the sound of the harmonica. So it's more about the shape and not so much about squeezing. That's important. Also, when you practice this, I recommend you practice by starting with your palms and then bringing your hands in. So you hold with your left, put your palms together, maybe even tilt it up so it's not putting so much pressure on this wrist, and then close. This overlap does nothing. So if you have smaller hands, if you find your palm too high, it's going to be very difficult to close the bottom. So slide your hand down so that your palms can touch, and then pinch. This overlap, like I said, that doesn't do anything for you. My overlap's there just because of the size of my hand. When you play on the bullet microphone, the hold is still the same. So as I have my left hand here, the microphone goes in. I'm just holding it with 2 fingers. I officially cover cupping the bullet microphone in the cupping lesson, but just to cover it really quick here, I'm holding with 2 fingers, and I have the grill of the microphone behind the meat of my thumb. That's very important. I don't want the grill to be here on the meat of my thumb because it makes the microphone much more difficult to hold. So I bring it behind the meat of my thumb, makes it much easier to hold. And then I bring my right hand in, just like we practiced, like this, or 2 thumbs up by bringing your other thumb up. They're both the same, they're both the same cup, whether you're holding a microphone or not.